Welcome back for another build video. Well, not actual build video, the bike's obviously already built. So what we have here is my new Chase RSP 5.0 hologram frame. There's a few changes I made on this bike compared to my bike last year. Every new season, we build a new RSP and a new ACT. We haven't built a new race bike ACT yet, so that video will come, but this is my training slash spare bike. We always build a fresh one. Once this new hologram color came out, I knew this is the bike that I wanted to have for this year because I think this is just such a cool, different look from what we've had before. So let's start off with the frame. Again, RSP 5.0. This is the newest version of the Chase aluminum RSP frame. This is the hologram, so you can obviously see the multicolor reflection of the frame. This frame does not come with any V-brake mounts. It's a disc brake specific frame. The brake cable internally routes into the chainstay, goes through the bottom bracket. In the down tube, there's an internal hose that just makes it easy routing to go from the bottom bracket up through the down tube and out the top behind the head tube. Keeps everything nice and clean. You don't have cables strapped to your frame. The internal housing inside the frame actually keeps from having any rattle of the cable inside the frame and movement. So I really like the clean look of this bike. Other than that, there's nothing really different from previous year's RSP. Just typical progression, keeping up with times, making the bikes just a lot cleaner and sleek looking. So next, let's start in the front, work our way back. Grips. If you guys have been watching me for a while, you know I like to switch it up. I don't stick with one grip, but this year I actually just went back to the OG ODI Ruffians, mainly because that's just what I had fresh in my stack, so I figured I'd throw those back on. But I am kind of missing that half waffle feel from that other side, but I'm gonna give these go for a little while. We have the Shimano XCR brake system on here. It's the same brakes we've ran since the day I got on Chase. You cannot beat these brakes. Every Chase I've ever built, I put them on the bike. Sometimes I haven't even had to bleed the cable, and they've literally lasted me all year with no trouble whatsoever. On this bike, I am testing out the new Ikon carbon handlebars. I really like to stay current with the times and with the progression of sport. Carbon handlebars hasn't really set too good with me yet. I know they're strong enough. They do them in the downhill world. They hold up. It's just mentally holding on to carbon handlebars is getting me. But I've already been riding this bike. I've had no problem at all. They feel like anything else. They're a super stiff, lightweight bar. So if it's something you're looking to just save weight on your bike, obviously handlebars is gonna be one of the first upgrades to do because carbon is much lighter than steel handlebars. So I'm gonna give these a go for a while. Feel-wise, I can't say I've actually felt a big difference stiffness-wise. I would imagine they're obviously gonna be stiffer than steel, but I haven't actually felt it for myself yet, but I've only put a little time in on this bike. This carbon handlebar has the 31.8 millimeter like fat mounting area, which means we had to go with the 11 31.8 stem. Forgot to mention, I actually sized up in frames this year. Chase is officially discontinuing the XL Plus frame, which was a 21.25, which I rode. So it was either size down or size up. And when I first got on Chase, I sized up from my previous frame. So I went to a 21.5 frame and I went with a 50 millimeter stem. So I had a 53 millimeter stem, so it's only 3 mil shorter. So makes up the difference a little bit. Over the last couple years, I have really liked the feeling of getting on longer bikes, being a little more stretched out. So I think I'm gonna like this bike. So the stem is the 50 millimeter 31.8 11 stem. Yes, you'll see that it's upside down. These carbon bars only come in 8-inch rise. I run a 7.5-inch rise. I like really being over the front of the bike. The lower bar is not the most comfy ride, but I believe these bikes should be built for performance out of the gate. You can get used to everything else. So I want to have that low front end, have a good pull, because if you have high bars, you just can't get over the front and pull and have it and apply enough pressure through the gate. You're kind of up here using your triceps, and yeah, there's obviously a happy medium there, but end of the day, these are 8-inch bars. They don't make 7.5, so I had to flip the stem upside down just to get a little bit lower. Forks, the Ikon carbon forks, the same setup we've always ran. This is the black and gray, matched up perfectly with the Ikon black and gray carbon rims. Tires, same setup I've been using for years. I have the Maxxis 1.95 torch in the front. The tubes in these wheels are the Blue Tech ultralight race tubes. Hubs, we have the Onyx hubs. These are actually the same hubs I had last year. They're white. I stripped them down, polished them, because the polished hubs just couldn't go any better with these hologram graphics. Now, You guys ask about these spokes all the time. Yes, I still got the Berd Spokes, and these Berd Spokes lace up to the Onyx hook flange hub, which is made specifically for Berd Spokes. The reason why I never raced with these, which is the #1 question I constantly get, it was purely aesthetics. The wheels didn't match our race setup. For the whole Chase team, all our bikes match. This wheel set was a white hub with white logoed rims. It just simply didn't match my race frame. So there was no reason I didn't race the Berd Spokes besides the fact that they didn't match our race bikes. So I delaced them from the other wheel set, relaced them to this rim set. So same Berd Spokes, they're still solid, no problems at all. Again, saving weight. I'm not a weight junkie, but I do really enjoy kind of looking for those extra 1% and seeing how light we can actually get a bike. At the end of the day, it's not gonna make a difference whether I race on it or not, but it's very noticeable how much lighter these wheels are with these Berd Spokes. And yes, at the end of this video, we'll weigh this bike and I'll give you guys that final number. Seat and post combo. The seat is just the plastic 11 seat, upgraded it with the titanium mounting bolt, and it's mounted up to the carbon 11 seat post, which is made specifically with that teardrop form that only matches the Chase frame. Quick release 11 seat post. Obviously, we always need to be able to change that seat after a full lap, pull that short seat out, put your tall seat post in, go out for a recovery ride. Or, and the other way around, warm it up for a race. Again, these seat posts are specific to Chase frames. Chase seat tubes have a teardrop shape to them. So on the RSP and the ACT frames, only the 11 seat posts will fit into the Chase frames. Moving down to the drivetrain, we have the HT XS pedals. This is an older set of pedals. I usually retire a race set, then those go onto my sprint bike, and that's kind of how I cycle through pedals. I always keep a race-specific set of pedals. I usually try to ride those for 3 to 6 months, and then I retire those onto the sprint bike, putting in fresh pair onto my race bike. Cranks, we have the Shimano DXR 175mm cranks. Yes, I know I should have polished these cranks. I wish I would have taken the time to cut into them and polish them up as nice as the hubs. But honestly, if I would have done that, I would have lost the Shimano DXR logo, and being one of our main sponsors, I just didn't really want to lose that logo. But eventually I'll come back and polish those things up where they're nice mirror finish. Sprocket, we have the 1146. Well, this is a 48, this is a sprint bike, but I normally race with a 46-17 gearing. Spider, I know you don't normally see a DXR crank set with a black spider. I simply taped off the crank and paint the spider black. I just think it's a much cleaner look having the spider match the sprocket. Simple as that. If you look at these pedals, see, they spin pretty nice. If you haven't watched my video about how to upgrade your pedal, I'm all about the 1%. So less drag on my pedal is just that extra 1%. So as those pedals are coming around, we just have that little bit less friction and drag in our sprint, right? 1%. They all add up. So check out that video. It's a super easy upgrade that anyone can do. Bottom bracket, we just have another Chase brand, the 11 bottom bracket. Spins great, have never had an issue with it. Left crank arm, also been upgraded to the titanium pinch bolts. Those tie bolts you can get from brgstore.com. I'll have all that stuff listed in the description for you. Chain. For years and years, I've ran a half link chain. Well, this year I've switched up to the KMC. Actually, you know what? I don't even know the name of it. Let me see the name of this chain. This chain is called the KMC Z1EHX Narrow. To the back of the bike. Rear wheel. Now, you guys have heard me talk about running the Maxxis DTH in the rear. Yes, that is absolutely my tire of choice, the 1.75 DTH in the rear. With this bike, I simply didn't have enough spares, so I put the torch on there. I had a few 7.5 torches, and since they obviously don't go on my race bike, they're perfect for my sprint bike. So on this bike, I have the 1.75 torch in the rear, also mounted up to the black and gray Ikon rim, same as the front. We have the Blue Tech lightweight tubes inside. Talking about those tubes, they're obviously a little more expensive than your normal traditional tube. Obviously, you want to have them in the front and the back, but say things are tight and you only want to buy one of the tubes, buy one, put it in the rear, because that's where that initial acceleration comes from. And that's the point of having lightweight tires, stiff carbon lightweight rims, lightweight tubes inside, because you don't want the bulk of your weight in your wheels to be in the tires. It's okay if you have a heavy hub, because that way all the weight is centered to the inside. You obviously don't want a heavy hub, but if there's anywhere the weight's gonna sit, it's gonna be better to have the weight sitting on the inside of the wheel than the outside, because this is what you're moving to get going out of the gate. So you wanna have the rotational weight, meaning the outside of the wheel is light as possible. Also, Berd Spokes, I think this is my 3rd year running these Berd Spokes. Still the same set. I've taken them apart and just relaced them. These things are super dialed. And I know these Berd Spokes are very expensive from traditional spokes, but you do save a lot of weight. I did do a video on the comparison of these spokes versus traditional spokes, and to be honest, at our level of racing, there's so much involved in BMX racing. These spokes were originally developed for cross-country racing, long, like hours and miles on the bike. So the lighter weight spokes really add up, and being this type of material, it's supposed to absorb the bumps on a mountain bike a lot more. So the numbers they get in the endurance world are hard to ignore. But for BMX, at the end of the day, you need everything to go right for that one perfect gate start. You know, you have to have good timing, you have to have good acceleration, you have to have good efficient pedal strokes. So the idea is you want all those little 1%ers to add up for that one perfect lap. In the video I did where I tested these, there were, I think actually these did come out slightly faster, but again, the numbers were so small. It could have been the warm-up effect of my body. I could have just been getting faster further into the gate. I could have been learning the gate better and having better timing. So in BMX, it's really hard to judge those little numbers because our numbers matter in the first 4 pedal strokes, unlike pretty much any other cycling discipline. So you got to kind of take that stuff with a grain of salt. But the way I look at it is we set our bike up for success. We make sure we check all the boxes, that we checked all those little 1%ers off for the chance of that one perfect lap happening. All these upgrades come together, and that's what helps you win that main event. So anyways, back to the bike build. Brakes, we spoke about the brakes, the Shimano XTR calipers. I got tie bolts holding this caliper down, and just Shimano stuff is just such a pretty product. You know, like they just really put a lot of thought in just making their stuff look good. You know, these are race bikes, so I love having just that nice high quality looking products on my bike. But don't we all, right? Kids, I was once in your position where I couldn't get this stuff, but I kept grinding, I kept putting in the effort, I kept trying to be the best I could be, and eventually it always pays off. You put in the work, you get the results, the sponsors come, and you can also one day enjoy getting these dialed bikes given to you, right, to ride them. And I'm very grateful for that. I've got 30 years invested in the sport, and it took a long time to get to that point. So kids, again, if you want it bad enough, put in the work, the sponsors will come. So with that being said, invest in yourself now to give yourself the best chance of a good outcome at a race, which turns into results, turns into more confidence, turns into winning races, turns into being seen more. And that is how you one day get the support we all want and to be able to build badass bikes like this. I think I covered it all. Every part on here you can get from brgstore.com. Again, the link is below. So get on there, cruise that site. There's so many color options on nearly every one of these parts to make this bike special to you. So hope you like this one. If you have any questions about this bike, maybe I missed out. Oh, what am I saying? I was about to wrap it up. We haven't even weighed the thing. Let's get us a weight. I like to flip this around. This bike stand you can also pick up from brgstore.com. But this scale, I just got off Amazon. So zero that out. We are at 17.81 pounds. And for my foreigners, that is 8.08 kilos. 17.8 pounds. I actually don't even know what bikes are weighing in at nowadays. 17 pounds seems pretty light for a professional level BMX race bike, but let me know what your guys' bikes weigh. I don't even know where I could really save weight here. We got the carbon handlebars. I have my steer tube cut to length. We got the Berd Spokes, carbon rims, light Maxxis tires, light tubes, Onyx hub, especially the front hub weighs nothing. The rear being the Ultra SS is the bigger, stronger hub. It's got a little weight to it, but that's definitely some weight I'd sacrifice. I would say I think the only place we could really save weight on this bike is cranks. I don't know. I mean, I have carbon cranks on like my mountain bikes. Let me know what you guys think. Is there any Where would you save weight if this was your bike? Or if you have a double XL size frame and you're weighing in under 17.8 pounds, I would love to see what you're doing. So that's a wrap for this one. You guys have seen my new Chase RSP. This is by far my favorite one I've built. I absolutely love having the carbon F1 style race frames, but this new setup is pretty rad. So I look forward to building a new ACT, carbon frame, carbon forks, carbon bars, and just having majority of the bike carbon fiber. I just think that's some cool race shit. So yeah, hope you guys liked it. If I missed anything, drop them in the comments. I'll answer them there. And yeah, if you're not subscribed already, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And until next time, see you then. Peace.